true self means, sounds like, and looks like. I'm your host, Karlin E. Tapia, coach, speaker, educator, and certified practitioner. I'll put more info of my work and what I do in the show notes. Feel free to contact us. My team would love to schedule a guest on my podcast. I have exciting plans for this, and I am ready to serve you. This podcast is designed to help you break free from fear or toxic stress and grow into the most confident, empowered version of yourself. If you're feeling stuck, uncertain, or overwhelmed, you've come to the right place. Hi, Janelle. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Karlin. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually feeling a little tapped out, so I'm just happy to end this day with you, asking you some questions and getting to know you a little bit.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I totally understand being tapped out. I think we all get to that point each and every day, don't we?
Yes. So I love this moment because it's truly like I'm working, but I'm not at the same time because I'm truly connecting with you. So I'm going to start us off with the first question. Who are you and where can our listeners connect with you online?
Oh my goodness. Who am I? Well, I'm Janelle Newman. I am a peaceful parenting coach and a special needs advocate. So I support families who have children, period, and want to just transform their parenting process. You know, we get into ruts as parents, and we can butt heads with our kids and go through different stages in their lives and our lives. And there's no, there are now maybe some parent handbooks, but there's some old stuff and out there, and I help parents just kind of guide them through new ways of communicating and things that they probably don't even realize exist in their former generational patterns and things that just kind of get in their way, like limiting beliefs. So I support that, and I also support families. I have a heart for helping families who have children with special needs, especially autism, ADHD, specific learning disabilities like dyslexia, and just helping them navigate how, getting supports at the schools, and how do I implement certain things at home, and understanding the nuances of what they might need differently and how their brains work versus, a neurotypical child. So those are my passions, and it's what I do as a parent coach. So you can find me online at www.nescoaching.com. And you can learn more about me there. I'm a mom. I have a teenage daughter and a wonderful husband and a pug named Ginger. And we live in a multi-generational home. So supporting my parents through their elderly season of life. And I work from home, and that wasn't who I used to be. I used to be a special educator for over 15 years. So transitioned, and that's what I do now.
Wow, that's amazing. Where were you when I needed to coach my parents?
When you needed to coach your kids?
When I needed you to coach my parents. I actually had ADHD, and I'm not sure if it's from just like past trauma or if it's ADHD. So I learned about myself recently, 6 years ago, when I was going through grad school.
Recent diagnosis?
Yes, recent.
Navigating.
Yeah, navigating that, and then getting accommodations and support that I need so that I can get through grad school.
And can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think that gave you any clarity or permission to be who you are, or like help you understand yourself better?
Oh yeah. First, I felt a little bit of shame, but then I feel like now I'm just like, yeah, I am scattered brain, and I'm going to talk like this in a conversation. I'm going to go from one point to another because that's just how my brain is wired. And actually it's helpful for me as an entrepreneur, as a coach, because it helps me be creative. So yeah.
Love that for you. That's part of the work I do too, is really just the deeper we understand, like it's really, we get scared about labels and putting labels on ourselves or on our children. And really the label is there to help our understanding. What you do with the label is your choice, right? But so I love that it helps you just understand yourself better, give yourself more compassion and permission to be who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, your work is really needed. So I'm really grateful, and it's an honor to be connecting and interviewing you and sharing more of what you do on the podcast so that people could benefit from all the knowledge that you have. I just wanted to know what inspired you to get into this kind of work, because it definitely takes. I believe that everybody has a unique purpose, and so um, I just want to tap into that a little bit to see what brought you to that.
Well, there's a big story behind it. I will try to keep it short. As I mentioned, in special education for 15 years. So I worked in a couple of different roles as a resource specialist, an inclusion specialist, as an intervention specialist, but ultimately all through the years, supporting children and their families with their special needs, both academically, but also to a point social, emotionally, and just implementing strategies, working with all of the general education teachers. And there's a lot of pressures and expectations. There's a lot of work that's, it's all consuming. It's so really, it was a long time coming. So COVID hits. And as you know, I mean, we all suffered through COVID, right? That was a real breaking point for me. The pressures of shifting to teaching online at home for children with special needs and supporting their parents, supporting them in an academic setting, so to speak, which is different, similar but different than when they're supporting them at home as just their children, if that makes sense. Now they're supporting them as a student. So there's just so many added pressures, right? It's already hard enough for children to who have special needs to not be learning in person, to be on a computer learning digitally, navigating all the things that come with that. But then it's hard on the parents too, because it was an added responsibility that they normally didn't have, right? That we were doing during the school day. And so a couple things happened. It was so immensely stressful. My job became 10 times harder. And though I love it and have a deep passion for it, I recognized the end of 2021 that I needed to leave teaching. I needed to leave that position for my own well-being, because what happened is I had hit a severe depression. I had already struggled with anxiety throughout my adulthood. So I was having a lot of anxiety, immense stress, and then I went through a severe depression to the point of having suicidal thoughts. And that was the point where I thought, something has to change. This isn't okay. I'm not myself. I don't feel myself. I'm not productive, right? So that shifted me into rediscovering who I am and what. So I always identified myself as a teacher, like that's who I am. But that's not who I am, right? And so I went through a whole personal discovery, a journey of finding out what can I do differently. And it was always on my heart to support families. I wanted to continue to support children with special needs and their families and their parents. And I found my way eventually to coaching. I kind of, took some side roads thinking like I needed to be completely away from that world for a while. And then I just naturally, I came back to it, and this is where I landed, and it's phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I hoped that answered your question. I tried to keep it short.
No, thank you for sharing. I really do want to know like the story behind people, and I love understanding where they come from. And it's funny, I figure that not everybody is like that. Like my ex-boyfriend, he would tell me like, okay, I need a break. Like I need my alone time, and I can go hours with like listening to someone and their story and how they got to where they are now. So all that to say, yes, thank you. And when you had that realization that something needs to change, which I went through that as well, what was that like emotionally? Because you took a lot of steps of faith, I'm assuming. But I just want to hone in on that because a lot of my audience just need to know that. A lot of people just see the end result and don't really see the process of it.
I had already been on this journey of navigating what it looks like to even recognize that I had an anxiety disorder, but then also learning to manage it. And the resources I was given at that point, through my life, my early adulthood, were helpful, but really it became about expanding those resources. And so fortunately and unfortunately, so I have a family member who had committed suicide many moons ago. So I know the impact that it has on families. And so the moment that those thoughts were coming through my mind, those were the red flags of recognizing why this isn't okay, because I know the impact it has, and I don't want that for my family. So, or my friends, or right, that I see the trickle effect. And so that was the push that I needed to start doing the work to find resources in order to get better, in order to find myself again. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't have energy. I literally was depressed. I wanted to be in bed all the time. I could barely function. I could barely do my job. It was hard. I was frequently sad or numb or angry or anxious, all the uncomfortable feelings. Um, so I just started doing research and looking for, maybe there's apps that can help me navigate this depression. And that's where I started. I knew meditation was helpful. So I did get into meditation, a lot of deep breathing techniques, those kinds of things. So it was really about building my resources and engaging in new behaviors that I knew or trusted or hoped that would help me find myself again. And they did, right? So deep breathing, meditation, learning mindfulness techniques. And then joining, I found some apps that help you navigate anxiety and depression, and just taking regular assessments and engaging in the cognitive behavioral therapy activities that they have, of really learning to reframe my thoughts and understand my own limiting beliefs and things that were contributing to my depression, right? It helped me understand it on a deeper level and bring to surface how I'm contributing to it, and take responsibility for that and take action and make some changes. And it was slow growth. It wasn't like I just suddenly overnight was, yay, I'm myself again. No, I mean, it took a couple of years of practice to really feel myself again. So asking for help, reaching out, being vulnerable with other people, telling them like, hey, I'm struggling. And that's really, really hard to do when you're in it. Really hard to do, right? We already, I think, as a society in the US, struggle with asking for help or being vulnerable with each other, right? And I think there's a shift happening right now. I see people are starting to open up, and we're starting to advocate for being vulnerable and asking for help and advocating for yourself. But there's still a lot of work to be done there. And so it wasn't like there was just this open door of, well, anytime you're down, come to me. But using resources and letting myself, and this is my new mantra in life, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Doing things that scare you, like being vulnerable and telling someone you are depressed and you need help. Or, now it's in my business of doing scary things like putting myself out there on a public podcast or, things like that make you nervous or make you uncomfortable, and just having faith and moving forward through it.
The name of it is Brave Steps Forward. So you just nailed it right there. I super admire you. My heart like breaks when people don't know that there is help, and that there are trained professionals and there are so many resources and even meds if that is needed for people to not get to ending their lives. And so I thank you for being strong, courageous, and advocating for yourself. I have a lot of stories where people didn't ask for help. And as a mental health professional, it's frustrating, it's aggravating, it saddens me because I feel like as a society, we could even use like social media or the news or the TV show to just remind everyone this is the crisis line number. This is what you can do. You can ask for help and normalizing it as a culture, as a society.
Right. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, all that to say, thank you for just standing up for yourself. And in that and all of that and getting to where you are as a coach, do you have people that have mentored you? That's my next question. Who are your most influential people in your life?
That's a great question. You know, part of my journey was gaining support from one of my closest dear lifelong friends. Her name is Liz Coleman, and she has her own coaching business. And so she gave me the opportunity to support her in her business. And that alone showed me what was possible. That alone was inspiration. So not only was I getting connection and support from my dear friend, but I also was witnessing every day what's possible. And then through that, gaining inspiration, right? Having those moments of a new idea or something that I feel like, oh, I could try this venture or I can try this, right? And so Liz absolutely has been an amazing inspiration to me. And she does, you know, different group workshops around the US, and she's done a TEDx talk. So check her out, Liz Coleman. And she's she's just a beautiful human. So I would say she's been the greatest inspiration in terms of my transition from teaching and going through the suffering I did to where I'm at now. I'm happier than I've ever been. I absolutely love the work that I do, and I get to do it every day. And it, you know, they say if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, right? And so I get to shape my own life, but without her inspiration, I don't know that I would have gotten to the point of believing in myself or seeing what was possible.
Yeah, no, I totally get. That's why I do this podcast, because in addition to coaching people, which is it's laboring. I'm laboring with people to help them with the tools they need so they can do it on their own. I don't want them forever with me. I love them so much, but I just don't want them forever. And I also do this podcast so people can have a vision in front of them and be motivated to hearing other stories, specifically because they trust me. And so thank you again for coming on. And I just want to like hone in on just a piece of advice that you would give to your younger self, because I think it's important to talk to those wounded areas and to those stuck areas so that people can, my listeners can get used to that idea as well.
You know, we've heard it before, but I literally would tell myself, don't sweat the small stuff. And I would help myself understand what the small stuff is. And really, for me, that came down to perfectionism. So I'm a recovering perfectionist. That's what I like to call it. I have done a whole lot of work, mental work, uh, breaking down my perfectionism and learning to be okay with doing it messy and doing things out of order and taking risks and not being so overly cautious. Learning to see the big picture instead of getting lost in the forest and only seeing the trees. There's a lot that comes up with perfectionism that, there's limiting beliefs around it. And so I would just tell myself that in the end, that's actually what breaks you and not makes you. Everything doesn't need to be perfect. Perfection doesn't exist, right? It's a false concept that perfection exists. That's in the eye of the beholder, and life is messy. Messy things can be perfect and beautiful the way they are, right? And taking risks, doing things that make you uncomfortable and not worrying about having every duck in a row. And oh gosh, I have to make sure that, do I need the 10th duck too? Like just getting so overly caught up in having my ducks in a row before launching some, doing some big thing, and then never taking action. I got in my own way. And so just let go of perfection. Let it go. It doesn't serve you at all. If anything, it's just a hindrance. And so that would absolutely be the biggest thing, because that's contributed to my anxiety, which then eventually, you know, contributed to immense stress and working crazy long days because I was trying to do everything perfectly. And it's overwhelming. There again, there's no such thing, but I was seeking it. I was seeking perfection and trying to be perfect in the eyes of other people, and it's not worth it.
I hear you. I hear you on that one. I'm a New Yorker living in the Midwest, so it has taken me some time to just be my New Yorker self in the Midwest.
Yeah. Yes.
With just like the different accent, the different personality, the go go go,
A
it took me
different
some.
culture.
Mm, yeah, it's a slower pace here. We're
Yeah.
very competitive in New York. I don't know, we figure it out. But I have learned to slow down, not just because of the culture, but because it's just healthy. So I get you.
Good for you. That's a part of the work too that we do, is learning to slow down, learning to take pause. And I imagine that's been a challenging shift coming from New York. My husband's a New Yorker too. He's born and bred New York,
Oh, awesome.
but he's out here in California with me now.
Yeah, I have family
So
in California. It's gorgeous.
yeah, I love it out here. Yeah. And he's been such a huge support. So I got to give a shout out to him too, because I couldn't have done this without his support,
Yeah,
for
he'll be listening
sure.
to this, so you want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have a free event coming up December 9th and 10th, 6:30 to 8:30 Central Time, and it's completely free, and I'm wanting to add value and sharing with people about how to become resilient and confident. And so, do you think that part of your journey was that learning how to be confident and resilient?
1000%. Yes. It
Yeah,
when
that's helpful to
Yeah,
hear.
everything about my journey was learning to become more resilient, learning how to bounce back faster, learning how to and the things that contribute to that were learning to manage my emotions, learning to manage my own thoughts and my limiting beliefs, and understanding how those things influence my choices, my reactions, my responses to circumstances or situations. How I choose to take action is influenced by those things, my emotions and my thoughts, right? And so there was a lot of work of doing that absolutely, and when you look at the whole picture, is about building resilience and about just believing in yourself and knowing that you are enough just as you are. You don't need to be validated by the world. You don't need to, like, you are enough. You have value regardless of what position you hold, what role you're playing in your life. If you're a mom, if you're a daughter, a friend, if you're alone right now, you know, you still hold value. You are still a worthy person. And it's very much been that growth process of building my confidence, knowing I'm enough, and building resilience of like, I can handle the hard things. I can do this. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, maybe later I can share more and we can collaborate so that you could also help me. I love working together with other people and collaborating with clients. So yeah, I look forward to doing that. And I just want to end with a fun question.
Yeah.
In what way do you show up for yourself
Mm.
every single day? And it could be so weird. Like I could even share something after you go, but something fun about you that you do so that you can really take care of yourself.
Okay, something fun about me. Well, let me start with the easy stuff. So the everyday things I do is I now have a regular daily meditation habit. Um, and I notice on the days that I don't meditate, I can feel the difference. So meditation, just engaging in self-care, you know, exercising, eating right. I mean, there's so many benefits. It's crazy how many benefits there are just from getting some movement. Um, but you know, silly things I love to I love to color in a coloring book. My girlfriend and I will get together and color. I love to dance, or I'll like just randomly, and this is part of the nervous system work that I teach too, of regulating yourself, of literally just shaking things off and brushing it off and, you know, making weird noises like, oh, those things help me stay regulated. And that's part of self-care, right? Of just being able to work through the tough spots and managing stress or anger or whatever that comes up. So yeah, those are some things. Love to dance. You know, staying hydrated, getting good rest, you know, being really mindful of those things. I mean, it's all the stuff we've heard all the time, but I now am able to put it into daily practice. Connecting
Yeah.
with friends and family has been huge for me too, because when in my former self, I never saw my friends and family. I fell off the face of the planet when the school year was in session because I was working all the time. It was all consuming. So having connection with people is a huge one for me too.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the flexibility that I have. I'll speak for myself because I know, for example, I feel tapped out from today and then I have coffee scheduled with my friend tomorrow. And I love that. I love being in control of my own schedule. And what I do to like something funny, I feel like to really show up for myself is every morning I always feel really cold, and so I really like work on my posture when I get out of my bed, and I look at myself at the mirror, and as I'm brushing my teeth and looking at myself at the mirror, I talk to myself, like I give myself a pep talk. I tell myself how cute I am.
Yes,
So
I love that. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And talking to yourself like that is super effective. It's one of the strategies I teach as well. It's been really effective for me too. Even power poses, I'll do power poses in the mirror or right before a call or something, you know, just to build your confidence. There's actual science behind it. Yeah. So,
I used to teach a group. I used to facilitate a group therapy at a eating disorder facility,
mhm.
and yeah, a lot of people don't know this information. Like I would teach them about power poses and that how it affects your body when you're slouching, and it's just, there's just so much to give and add value to people. So I'm so excited that we connected, and I'll just connect with you after.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. It's been so lovely. I appreciate just being able to meet with you and have this chance to talk.
And that's it. That's a wrap, you guys. Thank you so much for being here today and for giving me the privilege to speak over your life and for you receiving the gift of growth. Remember, every step you take forward, no matter how small or big, you are truly moving forward to who you're truly meant to be. Embrace the journey, because the process of becoming is just as powerful as the destination. And in today's episode, if something sparked in you, a question, anything, a goal, an idea, hold on to that. Let it be the nudge you need to take brave steps forward toward the life that's calling you. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just need to take that next step. And I'll be here cheering you on every step of the way. Until next time, keep going. Hey, and do me a favor, share this episode with one friend or on social media. Let's bring more awareness to taking brave steps forward together.